Hey everybody, welcome to Northpointe Conversations. This is a place where we just get to chat a little bit more about how God's moving in people's lives, like really cool experiences and stories and things like that. And so we're kicking this one off here with Andy Acker because Andy, you took a trip here recently, my man.
Yeah, I spent 14 days in the country of Egypt.
Now you've been to a couple countries in North Africa, right? Because you had an experience in college, right?
Yeah, in college, I took a trip, a study abroad program for 20 days to Morocco, which is a very similar country to Egypt, but also very different.
What was like the thing though that you like noticed on North Africa that you're like, this is like culturally the thing that you see all the time? Do you feel like there's any like similarities there?
I mean, the biggest culture thing that I would say is similar between the two countries is they're both Arabic speaking nations, and then they are both Muslim nations.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of culture come into that through Islamic culture throughout the city. So you'll hear the call to prayer throughout the day, which is really kind of eerie in a way, but it's also kind of cool. Like when I told Becca I was going back to Egypt, I was actually excited to go hear the call to prayer.
Really?
And I can get into that a little bit more later and how Christians handle that. But, but it's kind of cool just to be immersed into a totally different culture and experience that.
So let's chat a little bit here. Why Egypt? I mean, was this like something that you had planned? Was this like something you always wanted to do? Like, how did Egypt come about in your world?
It's funny because Egypt was not even on my radar as a place to go to for a missions trip. It was, Beck and I were talking about it before going on the trip, and we said that this trip was made for me in a way, because there were just so many little things that lined up. We were talking about how I went to Morocco back when I was in college. So I had this experience being in the Northern Africa region, in an Islamic nation, in an Arabic-speaking nation. So I remember some Arabic from my time in Morocco.
Yeah. What do you remember? I want to hear that.
Shukran.
Yeah. What is that?
That's just thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So,
okay.
That's probably the most used word that we used while we were in Morocco.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that stuck out to me.
Sure.
But even in Egypt, I learned a ton more.
Yeah.
That it's actually funny. I started getting the Egyptian American accent or English accent.
Yeah.
And so I noticed myself talking in English, but talking like they're talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I'm trying not to be insensitive by like making fun of you. Like it's not me making fun of you. They're like, it's actually easier for us to understand you when you talk this way.
Oh, really?
Because they have that thick accent that as they communicate, that's what they're used to hearing when they talk in English.
Sure.
And so when we have our American accent, just like sometimes we're like, I mean, you're talking on the phone to a customer helpline, and you're like, this accent is, I'm just having a hard time understanding it.
Yeah, I do that a lot with like Southern accents and stuff like that. Because when I went to school down in Kentucky, and Ash has told me before, like when I'm with my friends down there or whatever, like all of a sudden I start having a little more twang in how I talk, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was just kind of fun having that. Man, what was the question I was answering? Similarities.
How Egypt? Why Egypt? Why did you get connected over there?
So the Arabic nation, the Islamic nation, that was part of it. Becca and I were actually planning on going to Kenya this summer.
Okay.
At the church.
Yeah.
And so we were praying, and we probably prayed for 2.5 months, just trying to figure out, like, is this where God wants us to go?
Yeah.
And for the cost of the trip, we were saying, well, we don't want it to be like a maybe or definitely not a no. Like, we don't want to go if it's a no.
Right.
But for the cost of the trip, we're like, we want to make sure that this is where God wants us to be.
Sure.
And so we were praying and just waiting for an answer. And we're like, all right, well, we're getting close to that January cutoff day. Like, we need to give an answer. And so we actually told Rick and Sue, no, like, we're not going to go this year. We didn't have that calling. And after we turned down that trip, about 2 weeks later, this opportunity came up. Mm-hmm. And Corey McCarrick is actually the guy that introduced me to the trip. So Northpointe guy, he didn't go on the trip, but his brother, Mark, or stepbrother, Mark, works for this organization called Live Global, and they were taking this trip. They're like, it's a sports trip. And I'm like, what? Do I look like a sports person? He goes, but you play ultimate Frisbee. And I'm like, well, kinda. He actually approached me. Do you play ultimate Frisbee still? And I go, why? Why do you want to know?
Yeah.
But and that's another part to it. But this opportunity came up 2 weeks after turning down the Kenya trip.
Wow.
And so just the timing was perfect.
And you didn't know anybody in this organization or anything like that. Like this was just from somebody else who happened to know you and thought, hey, this could be a fit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know anyone on the trip in person. And that was a huge step for me to go on this trip to a foreign country with 13 people or 12. I don't even know how many people went, 10 people that I didn't know. I didn't know anyone on the trip. And so but
were they people like from Michigan, or were they people from like different parts of the country, or like how was their connection?
Yeah, so they're all the people that were on the trip were from around the country, and so one guy is over in the Grand Rapids area. That's the guy that I flew over with. He came through, picked me up. We were supposed to have 2 other people come with us on the trip that weren't able to because of just some medical stuff that came up, like last minute surgery. So they weren't able to go on the trip, which was definitely sad. And they were supposed to fly out with us. So those relationships were definitely missed.
Yeah.
But I'm getting on this plane with this guy that literally, I'm like, here's my address, come pick me up. And I've never met this guy.
Never met him before.
I've met him on video calls. I've talked to him on video calls, but never in person. So stranger danger, right?
Yeah, right.
But there's some people down in Tennessee, Nebraska, Oregon, just all across the country.
Okay.
But real quick, the third thing that third reason why I felt called to go to this trip is last summer I decided to play on an ultimate Frisbee league in East Lansing. And I told Becca, it was funny. I was just sleepless nights scrolling on Facebook, and I came across this Capital Area Disc Association League to play ultimate Frisbee. I'm like, well, I play ultimate Frisbee with youth group kids. This could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Opportunity to meet people in the community that I wouldn't normally meet.
Yeah.
And so it's like 5 a.m. I'm like, Becca, I think I'm going to join this league. Like waking her up next to me. And she goes, all right, whatever. And so I'm like, maybe not the best time to have this conversation.
Sure.
So I followed up the next morning, like when we were both up and like actually getting ready. I'm like, hey, I really do want to do this. She's like, sure, go for it. And so I did. I joined this league, again, not knowing anybody on the league, just trying to meet some new people. And I was kind of discouraged because a lot of the connections that I did make over the league never stuck.
Sure.
Excuse me. And so it almost felt like a waste. And so I'm like, well, that was kind of stupid. Like, why would I join this league? But that's what they wanted for Egypt. They wanted somebody to come in and teach ultimate Frisbee to the church leaders over there, the people who are doing ministry over there. That way they can open up a clinic and start teaching people how to play sports and use that as a tool to evangelize to the youth in Egypt.
So let me get this straight. You went on a mission trip to Egypt where your primary responsibility is to play ultimate Frisbee and teach other kids how to play ultimate Frisbee and develop relationships, to be able to have gospel conversations and all of that. And before you even knew about this trip, like a year ahead of time, God has just like put an ad for ultimate Frisbee that just kind of piques your interest. Not something you've ever been, not like a hobby of yours or whatever, but he's prepping you a year ahead of time before you even know like Egypt's on the radar, right?
Yeah, I did last summer when I did do the league, I didn't even know that this was an opportunity out there. And so with those 3 things, with the study abroad, with the praying for Kenya and not happening for that ultimate Frisbee, like, this is clear that God wants me to go to Egypt. Man.
So what did you like feel along the way? Was there anything in your heart? I mean, you could see now, like looking back on how all these dots connected, but when this opportunity first comes to you of like, hey, you don't know anybody. Do you want to come and like lead over here for this game that you've only been playing for a year? Or it's not like you're like the college, disc golf player or Frisbee golf player or whatever, like all that kind of stuff. Like how does that approach? Like what's going through your mind when this opportunity like arises to you?
Yeah, so when Corey first approached me, I was thinking, I'm like, well, I do enjoy ultimate Frisbee. I do know how to play, but there's so many like rules that I just don't know how to do.
Sure.
And so I did some reading. I found some coaching material on how to teach ultimate frisbee. And I'm like, well, I guess I should probably go to Egypt because I felt that call. I knew I was going to be going. I just didn't want to say yes because I didn't feel properly equipped.
Sure.
And so I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to do ultimate frisbee. And so one of the cool things about it was being the student minister here. I decided, you know what I can do? I can teach the kids here how to play ultimate frisbee.
Oh man, yeah.
And so I told them, I'm like, hey, we're going to do ultimate frisbee this summer. We're going to play every Wednesday. Come out, learn how to play ultimate frisbee. They're like, we know how to play ultimate frisbee. And I'm like, all right, what position do you play? They go, we don't know how to play ultimate frisbee. And so they know the gym class version where you just get the frisbee down to the end zone, which is fine. Like, it's cool. It's great. But it was fun to like play as a team, as a youth group, and to watch kids that wouldn't normally interact with each other, joking around, throwing the disc like, hey, I'm open. It started to launch this idea of how sports ministry is actually impactful. Because I've heard of sports ministry in the past. I'm just like, cool, you're playing sports together.
Right.
What's the ministry aspect?
Right.
But the team connection and the relationships that you build and the conversations that you can have are at a whole different level than you can, even doing ministry in a church.
Yeah.
And it just feels different. It's a different flavor of ministry.
Yeah, this is so interesting because you're not like the sports guy per se, like that's not your forte or kind of the thing. And yet God has placed just like this crazy opportunity in your life and like a calling early on and just saturated that and has used it not only for this mission trip, but also for students. Like you were saying, like he's using it in so many different areas, but it wouldn't necessarily be in line with your wiring or your calling or your skill set or all of that. So like what led you to recognizing, hey, this isn't necessarily my thing, but yet you felt like it was something God was calling you to? Like explain that a little bit more for me.
I don't know if that truly came out until I was in Egypt.
Yeah.
And one of the guy that I came with, the guy, Dave, he became a missionary when he was in his 30s or 40s. And he decided that he was going to live global sports ministry as well. And so he was doing ministry in Thailand. He's running soccer programs. And he's like, I'm 40. I can't play soccer. But these kids are playing soccer. But he had different skills. He had he actually worked in a dye shop for car parts. But he was really great working with financials and administrative tasks. And so what he did is he really equipped locals in Thailand, where he was, to run a sports program. And he equipped people to do that.
Okay, yeah.
And so while he's doing this, he's also helping them build a sporting complex that they can use for practices or tournaments or to rent out to make money for different events. And he really built this organization to be self-run. And it took him 16 years to do.
Wow.
But he ended up moving back to America, and they're still running this program all by themselves. So it's not necessarily, sports aren't my skill set. My skill set, I would say, is people. Like, I want to be investing in people, having conversations with people, connecting people. So if I can do that through sports ministry, that's what the goal was.
Sure.
And so one of the cool things being in Egypt is I don't speak Arabic fluently.
Yeah. You can say thank you, though.
I could say thank you. I could say water. I need water. But one of the cool things was a lot of their support staff, the people that were running the camp, knew at least like surface level conversational English. So we were able to talk for that first week that we were there, teaching them ultimate frisbee. We also did some soccer training, like how to run drills, how to lead practices, really equipping their people to be prepared to start teaching sports.
Nice. Yeah.
So they know how to play. Well, they thought they knew how to play ultimate frisbee.
Yeah. So you're still using your skill set, even though it's not lined up necessarily with your passion, because your skill set is the connection with people in that. So sports isn't your thing, but you're finding a way to use your skill set and pieces that are passion with just a different venue in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was getting at is that the kids, though, The staff spoke conversational English. The kids didn't.
Sure.
A lot of the kids could say hey or hello or those little phrases, like those kind of like conversational Spanish that you learn in high school, but like you don't really know anything beyond that.
Sure.
So I wasn't able to have conversations with these kids in the same way that we're talking here.
Yeah, for sure.
And so playing on the sports teams with these kids, you're forming this connection and they love you because you're playing sports and you're giving them high fives and encouraging them. And then what that does is after the sports time, we had small group times and teaching times. And that opens them up to be able to hear what you have to say or to have conversations. So even through our translators, because we had translators speaking between us, they were so invested into hearing what you had to say. And part of that's also because you're American, you're different, but I mean, they just want to get to know you and hear you because you're making these connections on the field ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible, man. What do you feel like when you were there? Like here was probably the most impactful moment or the most impactful thing that you got to be a part of, or you got to see. I mean, you talked a little bit about making these relational connections with kids, but did you see any like moments where things began to click or like a foundation was being set or anything like that that maybe was happening?
Yeah, so we did pre-training for the trip, just kind of learn about the culture, learn about how these kids, and I say kids loosely, the people we were working with were kind of between the age of 15 and 21, 22. So, I mean, it really was kids and young adults, like late teens, young adults.
Sure.
But a lot of what they're going through are just like the same things that we go through. And it sounds kind of funny to say.
Yeah.
They're worried about how am I going to make a career for myself? How am I going to branch away from my family? Because their culture is very like your family is who you got. You got to be close. How am I going to get married? How am I going to be able to afford to get
They're just people. Yeah.
They're just people. These are problems that they have. And we just wanted to make connections over that. And so I got to share. I mean, I got married in college and we're like, we don't know how we're going to survive. We don't have high paying jobs. Like we're working for the university. We're still in school.
Right.
And then COVID happened and we're like, cool. We lost our jobs. We lost our apartment. And thankfully Northpointe's like, hey, you can come work here.
There you go.
But I mean, it was just fun to connect with these students. I don't remember if that was answering the question that you were asking though.
Yeah, I just kind of figuring out like as you're doing this trip, as you're there, like did you see a moment or have an experience that just felt like, hey, this is a defining thing, whether it may be in your life, maybe with the ministry, maybe with a student or a young adult there or somebody like that you just felt like, hey, this is a moment we really saw God show up and do some stuff here.
I remember where I was going with that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had this pre-training about what they were going through and I got to see those things firsthand. But they said in that pre-training, it's going to take them 2 or 3 days to warm up to you. And I'm like, I'm going to push this. Like I work with students all the time. I know how to get
I'm an expert. I got this.
I know how to get students to open up a little bit quicker about what they're going through, what they're feeling and having those conversations.
Yeah.
And so what I did is our first small group session before anything really happened. This is before we got on the sports field, before we had any breakout times. They gave us small group times. And then as a leader, I'm like, this is weird. Like it's really just an introduction time, but I'm like, give me something to talk to about these kids.
Sure.
But they didn't. So I had to improvise. And so I told the kids, I'm like, hey, I want to know what questions you have that you want answered by the end of this week. And so they're like, well, how do I know that Jesus is real? How do I know that God is good when my father just passed away? He passed away when I was younger.
Welcome to Egypt. Welcome getting to know some people. That's heavy. Yeah.
And so they were asking these heavy, heavy, heavy questions. And so I said, okay, next question. And they're like, wait, weren't you going to answer my question? I go, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I just want to know where your heart is. I want to know where your mind is. And as they're opening up about these questions, I'm like, man, that's real hurt. And I can see the hurt that you're feeling. I mean, one kid lost his dad when he was 7 or 8 or 9, late childhood before adolescence.
Yeah.
He was the oldest male, so he had to almost take care of his family. And you see this pain coming out of him.
Sure.
And so you just have empathy for him. You're like, hey, I can see that you're hurting. And you're just expressing the hurt that they're feeling, having sympathy, having empathy for them. But I never answered the question. And so the next day they go, well, aren't you going to answer my question? I'm like, all right, I remember your question. Yeah. How do you deal with that God is good when you lost your parent? And I go, so what do you guys think? It's that let's turn the question back on you guys.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to do is I'm like, you guys are so strong in community because they're answering each other's questions left and right. Like they're able to speak truth and knowledge and share this truth of God with each other, but they can't do it by themselves. And so the whole time they're like, well, aren't you going to answer my question? And I'd say, all right, let's restate your question. Let's talk about it. And then they'd be answering each other's questions.
Yeah.
And so to see them make this connection of like, I'm not going through this alone. I don't need this American savior guy to come in and answer my questions and teach me. I just wanted to be there to facilitate and be the middleman and be like, all right, let's get a little bit more, like, let's ask the question a little bit differently. Let's direct the conversation, but I'm not answering their questions.
You just facilitate. You're helping facilitate. Yeah.
And the amount of knowledge that they gained from each other throughout the 5 days of camp and watching them connect, they're like, we need this.
Yeah.
We need to have connections like this outside of camp. And I'm like, do you guys have churches that you're willing to connect with? Do you have groups that you're able to join? Because despite being a Muslim nation, there's churches. And I've told people, when you're in America, you drive down the road, there's a church, there's a church, there's a church. And then there's some other form of religious temple, whether it be a mosque or synagogue or what's the Hindu?
Yeah, like a temple.
Like a temple. Yeah. So like you drive down the road, mosque, church, synagogue, church. There, it really is. There's a mosque, there's a mosque, there's a mosque, there's a church, there's a mosque, there's a mosque, there's a mosque. Yeah. And so
because they also view like religion and your identity over there, like the government is involved in that in ways that's very different than what we have here in America, right?
Yeah, so at birth, you're either assigned Muslim or Christian based on your parents' affiliation with religion. So no matter what, you are labeled as some kind of religion.
Interesting.
And a lot of it is cultural. Even for the Muslims, it's just kind of Muslim by culture.
Yeah.
They're not practicing. They're not worshiping Allah. Christians, they're not necessarily devoted to Jesus. They're just name alone.
Okay.
Name alone Christians, name alone Muslims. And so in Egypt, it's actually illegal to minister to Muslims. They don't want people to convert from Muslim to Christian. But it is legal to minister to Christians. Otherwise, you can't really be Christian, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is they're taking people that are culturally Christian and ministering to these people. Gotcha. People that don't have a devotion to Jesus and ministering and sharing the good news of Jesus with them. And so that's how they're able to do this amazing ministry and still reach people, which is really cool to see.
Man, it's so interesting to think about just culturally those differences that apply there. What would you think when you look back now, having been back for a few weeks and looking back on the trip, like what is like the lesson or the thing that you felt like, hey, God put me on this trip, but most of the time, like when I've gone on trips, you try to love on people, you try to do the thing there, but I always find out I get more. Like God has given me something along the way. Would you say there's anything on this trip that you felt like, hey, I went on this trip and God just kind of gave me this gift, or he gave me this thing as my experience that has grown me in my relationship with him, or grown me as a leader, or as a husband, or any of those kind of things?
I don't know if necessary. There's lots around the trip that has impacted me.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that probably grew me the most isn't anything from the trip. There was lots of great things about the trip. As I was having conversations with people ahead of time, raising support, talking to other missionaries, I was talking to a guy, and he said, I think you're going to go do ministry to Muslim people. And I had to give that a lot of thought. I mean, like someone's like, oh, I think you should be a minister to the Muslim people, whether that be in Morocco, whether it be in Egypt, or whatever country. I'm like, well, let me give that some thought. And as I was ministering to these people, I think they're great. They're wonderful people. I love getting to know them. I love doing ministry there. Short-term trips are kind of a great thing.
Sure.
You don't have to be fully in.
Sure.
But really, I noticed that my heart for ministry is here. And it's realizing that America is just as broken of a place as Egypt is.
Yeah.
It has challenged me how I do ministry even here at Northpointe.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we've had this idea of everyone goes away for the summer. And sure, people do go take trips for the summer. They do have awesome vacations, which is great. Like, we want that for people. But not everyone's doing that at the same time. Not everyone's doing that at the same week. And so we running the Ultimate Frisbee throughout the summer as just a way to connect with students. We didn't do a ton of teaching. We didn't do a ton of sharing.
Sure.
Jesus in the traditional way, but we did it in conversations. We did it in the connections and conversations that we're having with students and kids, and just kind of like, hey, what's really going on? What are you feeling stressed about for this upcoming school year? What are you excited to let behind you from this past school year? Just these real conversations that we're having, and it created a new sense of connection. I think for me specifically, but also for the students that were coming to these things, that I want to challenge how we do student ministry next summer, and I want to do something similar to Ultimate Frisbee in some way where we're not necessarily breaking for the summer. We're going to change what it looks like, because sometimes ministry can get hard. It can be tiring, doing all the planning, doing all the whatnot, but doing something similar, whether it be, hey, we're going to do a month of volleyball, a month of flag football, and a month of tennis. I don't know, like doing something to really remain connected with each other, and not having expectations of like, all right, it's youth group week, show up.
Sure.
But really, hey, we'd love to have you here. We'd just love to connect. Let's build a relationship with each other. And that's what these guys are doing for the sports camp.
It's building relationships.
They're building relationships. All these people that were running the camp, besides the two missionaries that were in charge, have other jobs. They're graphic designers. They're content creator was the big one. So I mean, I don't know what content creation necessarily looks like over there, but they're doing all these side jobs. Some people were like massage therapists, and like they're taking time and investing into these students.
Sure.
But they're also building connections with them, so they can invite them to church, that they can have these conversations of these follow-up and whatnot. And so I think that was the real outlying thing, is just changing how I do ministry here.
Yeah. Just expanded your viewpoint a little bit more. I love that, man. Hey, if somebody's interested in this organization, they start doing some cool stuff, is there a way for them to get information, to get connected, to be a part, partnerships, or all those kinds of stuff? Like, what did you find that helped make that connection?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, Corey was the one that invited me, but I got connected with his stepbrother. Took him out for coffee, or he took me out for coffee.
Yeah.
We had conversations, but if you're interested to hear what Live Global is doing, you can go to their website. They have a parent company called ABWE, which is a bigger missions organization.
Sure.
But they have, I mean, Live Global is just a subset of that.
Oh, okay.
So that's their sports ministry focus.
Gotcha.
I know they're going to be running trips again to Egypt. I know they're running trips to Romania, to India, to Thailand, Jamaica.
Yeah.
If you are like a soccer certified person with credentials, I know they're looking for people with soccer credentials to go down to Jamaica to teach, because they got some stricter programming stuff down there. But I mean, there's just so many opportunities that if you're interested, either connect with me or go check out Live Global, and we can find you the right place.
Yeah, and you don't have to be the sports aficionado to be a part of it. It can really be just, recognizing, connecting with people, using your gifts and figuring that out. But maybe if you like sports, or it's a connection, that's a good opportunity there, right?
Actually, well, we were doing our sports camp right next door. We were kind of in this compound area. Right next door, they were doing a girls' camp.
Oh,
they were doing crafts and whatever other things you do at girls' camp.
Yeah.
They only told me about the craft stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Probably some massages, swimming, whatever else.
Yeah.
But they were doing this girls' camp next door too. So, I mean, it wasn't it's not only sports that they offer, but it was really cool to see just this team of missionaries come together, these teams of people from all over with a common goal.
I love it, man. Hey, man, thanks for sharing with us on there. Feel free, guys, like, share, comment, be a part of it. If you have any questions on anything, you can find on the website Andy's contact information, send him a message. He loves to buy you coffee and tell you more about it. So thanks for hanging out with us today.